1 in every 4 girls has been abused sexually in their childhood, and 1 in every 13 boys has been sexually abused in their childhood as well. Child sexual abuse is something that is going on and is on an increase in our society, and for me that is very saddening and really crushing. And these children that are abused never speak up at all. You know why? Because the people that actually abuse them are people that are very close to them. Their parents, their relatives, their caretakers, their teachers, the people that should protect them and have their back are the people that are abusing them. So how will a child speak up? How will someone come up and say that, my father sexually abused me? Who will believe them? Somehow you will feel like no one is going to believe me even if I said something. And sometimes the people that abuse them go ahead and threaten them and tell them, if you say anything, you are finished, And sometimes if it is your father that has abused you, you know that if I say anything, maybe he'll cut me off. So it gets hard for children to speak up. And you know what happens to them? They grow up feeling crushed, feeling broken, going through and sinking in depression, having post-traumatic stress disorder, and having behavior changes that are terrible. It is a whole lot of things that happen to these children. And for me today, I want us to discuss this in detail, I share experiences of the things that I know have gone on to children and to people that I have spoken to, and we get to know what can we do to reduce this from happening. It's Flavia. Welcome back to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you, and thank you for coming back. And if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button just right here so that you are part of our family, so that you can always watch the videos that I put up, and maybe they can be helpful to you or to someone in one way or the other. So let's get right into our video. Child sexual abuse is something that is going on, as I said, and it is on an increase. And the people that are abusing children are walking around freely and they are not being punished, and the children that have been abused are the ones to pay for their sins by going through trauma and depression and all those things like I mentioned them. But do they really deserve it? No, they don't. No child has to go through such untold pain, because it is crushing, it is sickening, it is all those things. Today I am going to share the experiences that I know of people that have gone through it and what it has, taken them, what it has taken them through. And then in my next video, which will either be at the end of the week or next week, we shall share the measures that we can put in place, to make sure that this does not happen to our children, to our friends' children, that generally it does not happen to any child out there. So today, let us just share the experiences so that we can know how bad is this. Now I will begin with myself. When I was around 4, as a child, I used to play so much, and then I would take a nap and then go and play like that. So there was this day I had played a lot and I was like super tired. So I took a nap on the couch. So while I was sleeping, there's this house help that used to come and help us around the house, and then he would go home later. But while I was sleeping, something gets me from my sleep. And when I wake up, guys, there is this guy seated right in front of me, and he has unzipped his pants and his something is out. And then for me, my panty is off. I don't know honestly how he took off my panty, and I did not hear him. But yeah, my panty is off. My dress is raised upward to my tummy, so that means that I'm naked from my tummy downward. And then this guy is naked with, something out. And when I wake up, just the sight of him alone, I am a child and he's like a whole grown man, and he's here in front of me So I wake up and I'm like, what are you doing to me? What is this? And I just get off the couch, and I remember my mother had told me that if anyone tries to touch you in your lower areas, around your bottom, you know, do not allow them. If you allow them, you know, I will beat you. If I know that you allowed them, I'll beat you. I'll what? My mother was just a tough lady who threatened you and everything to make sure it never happened. So now I wake up and this guy has removed my panty, and then he's here. He's also a bit naked, and I'm like, what are you doing to me? My mother said no one should ever touch me like this, and I am all shouting, and he's trying to silence me, like, no, keep quiet, I was just playing around, this is another game you don't know. And I'm like, no, you shouldn't have done this to me. And then he tells me, okay, just shush, keep quiet. And he tells me, don't tell your mother. If you tell your mother, she told you no one should touch you, so if she finds someone touched you, she is going to beat you. So at that moment, I let it go. Of course, nothing had happened to me. I didn't even know why my mother had said no one should touch me. So I let it go, and it ends there. I did not tell my mother or anyone for that matter. I let it go, and it didn't even bother me at all. So fast forward, in my primary school, I'm in P2. In P2, I go to boarding school, and every end of term, as we waited for our results, they used to bring us like people to tell us about how to be careful in holidays. Do not let a man lure you into having sex with him by giving you sweets or any gifts, because if you have sex with him, you're going to contract HIV, and HIV can be terrible. These are signs of HIV, you know, they tell us all those things. Now, among the signs of HIV was that you lose weight, you grow tiny, and all these things. And then they would show us pictures of the people that have AIDS, and they are all like tiny and very tiny. Now, as a very, very tiny kid, like, so when they'd show me these pictures and they know, you know, sex, you know, I'm like, first wait, what if this guy actually did something to me? So it begins like occurring to me, like, why am I very tiny? Every time people go home, they come back when they have added weight. No matter how much I eat, I never add weight. Why am I tiny? Maybe this guy actually did something to me, that by the time I woke up, while I thought he had done nothing, maybe he had done something. So I start feeling, you guys, like I have HIV/AIDS. I did not tell my parents, I did not tell my siblings, I did not tell my friends. I told nobody, absolutely nobody. But I was dying with this pain within me. I was having so much thoughts, so many questions, and feeling like, what if I am sick? So that means I'm going to die. And I'm like, do I deserve it? I didn't do it intentionally. You know, there is so much going on. And for 7 good years, up to when I was like in senior 2, like beginning of senior 2 is the time that I actually let go and, you know, started believing otherwise. I started feeling like if I had HIV, then really the signs would have showed up by now. But it was something terrible, something that I don't want anyone to go through. I was a secluded child. I was always quiet. I did not play around with other kids because I felt like maybe I may infect them, you know. So it was a lot, and I didn't tell anybody. So yesterday, while I was going to film, I told my sister, like yesterday, I told my sister I was going to film this video. And I told her, you know, when I was young, this house help that we had, you know, tried to do this to me. And my sister is like, wait, that guy also actually did something to me. And I'm like, you didn't tell anybody. She's like, who could I have told? And she tells me he forcefully forced himself on her, and he told her he wasn't like really going to have sex with her, but he was going to like play around with her thighs. So he tells her, keep quiet, and it was like forceful. So this guy starts masturbating, I don't know, like masturbating between her thighs. Yeah, and she says that at that time all she remembers is that her thighs were wet and all, and he was like holding her mouth and she couldn't say anything. And I'm like, okay. And she didn't tell anybody. So now I am thinking that if she had told my mother, yeah, if she had spoken up, maybe that guy wouldn't have done what he did to me, because he tried to do that to me later after he had done that to her. She's like way older than I am. So I'm like, if she had spoken up, maybe it wouldn't have happened to me. My mother would have put some measures in place to make sure it never happened. Maybe she would have done away with this house help. Maybe, I don't know, but she would have done something. So this is what I'm saying, that kids are abused, and they never speak up. And the people that abuse them are going around recklessly doing the same thing to another child and another child and another child, and this is going on. Now, that is just for me and my sister. When I was in high school, I was around Form 6, and this senior 2 child walks up to me and she tells me, you know, I really want to speak to someone. And I'm like, yes, tell me. And then she tells me, I have been dying with this. I have been feeling tortured, feeling sick, feeling like I am not worthy, because my mother's brother raped me when I was in P2. And I'm like, okay. And she tells me, you know, he used to pick me from school. He was staying with us for a while, and he used to pick me from school. And there was this time we were going home, and this guy slipped me into, you know, a bush around their home, like on their way home, and he raped her. He held her mouth and forcefully had sex with her, you know. And then he told her, if you tell your mother, that I did this, he threatens her. So it was also very hard for her to go home and tell her mother that your brother did this to me. She felt like her mother would not even believe her rather. So she's here telling me, you know, I feel like maybe I even contracted HIV/AIDS. When I look at like all the other kids in our class, all I see is that they are pure, they are healthy, and for me, I am dying with feelings like I am so impure, I am so unhealthy, I may have HIV/AIDS, I may even die soon. And it is crushing me, and I can't even go to my mother at this point and tell her, because she will ask me, why didn't you speak up then? So it is crushing me. I don't know what to do. I can't speak to anybody. And you know, she was the quiet, secluded child somewhere who was so unsocial, and people were even judging her for it. And she tells me, but this is my reason. And oh God, I looked at this kid. I was breaking for her. I didn't know what to tell her. And I was just telling her, no, it was never your fault. That is one thing you should understand. And I took her through a series of, you know, sessions, counseling, talking, sharing here and there for her to feel better about herself, but she was dying inside. Now that is not just her. When I was in senior 6, still someone shares with me that her father's father was visiting them, and he was staying with them for a while as well. So she was in nursery. Now when you're in nursery, you're either 4 or you're 3 or you're 5 then, you know, not like now where people are 2 and they're in nursery. But yeah, she must have been like around 4 or 5, I think. So this girl's grandfather was, you know, still forcing himself on her, you know, not once, not twice. And after that, she like started feeling pain while she was like doing susu and all, and it was like hard. But at that time, she really didn't know that was the cause. But yeah, she didn't really share with anyone. And now she tells me, I have kept this for a while, and I feel like all these years I have been asking myself, why would my grandfather do that to me? You know, I am a child. I am his son's child. Why would he do that to me? And then years later, he passed on, and I keep thinking, what if he actually had HIV? What if that was the reason? Did I get HIV? Am I sick? You know. And now all these guys that walk up to me and, you know, like they want me, I just look at them and I feel like you don't even know who I am. I am unworthy, I am not enough, I am dirty, I may even be sick. Like, I just really get angry, and she's suffering with all these emotions, all these things, you know. She's dying with them, she's sad, she's broken. But she has like to walk out and act like everything is normal with everyone else. And she tells me, I am dying. I don't know what I can do. But I just felt like I need to share it this just one time. Maybe I'll feel better. So we talk about things and, you know, how it is not your fault and all those things. But it is still so hard for her to process. She's like, no, I didn't deserve it. And yeah, truly, she didn't deserve it. Now that is just her as well. Recently, I was watching the chat room on NBS. The program hosted by Caritas, and there was this lady that was being hosted, and she was sharing how her father, her own biological father, sexually abused her. Like, her father was absent in her life, and then he shows up and she's excited, oh, my dad is here. And then he tells her, I want to be everything to you. I will give you everything. I will be everything I have not been before. I'm going to be everything to you. And this man, everything he meant in his head meant that even sexually, I'm going to be there for you. You know, and this is a child. I don't remember how old she was, but she was a child. She was not yet 18. And he's telling her these things, and he starts sleeping with her. Now she couldn't like open up and say, maybe tell the people in her home that my father is sleeping with me. She couldn't, because she was afraid he would withdraw the care that he's giving her or the help. You know, she was afraid. But she says that naturally she was a quiet child. You know, she wasn't that talkative. But when this started happening, she became even much more quiet. She was sadder. She was secluded. And she says that at that point, I thought at least someone would notice and maybe ask me. Maybe then I would have spoken up. But no one paid attention to me. No one noticed me. No one noticed. And it made me even much more sad, because in that way, I had no one to talk to. No one, absolutely, at all. And she was sharing her feelings and how she felt and the questions she had in her mind. Why would my father do this to me, for crying out loud? And even while she was sharing, she was still sad, she was still tearing, meaning that even up to this point, at her age, when she's all grown up now, it is still something that is very hard for her to get over. Now, there are very many stories that we can share, a lot of them, and we would never really exhaust them. The question is, how do we stop these things from happening to our children? You know, for those of us that are not yet mothers, how do we make sure that when we are, they do not happen to our children? Even for the mothers, how do you stop it now? You know, that is what I want us to discuss next time, after knowing that these things now actually happen with these experiences. And it is not just men that are abusing girls. Even women are abusing girls, and vice versa. Men abusing boys. Like everyone, the world is rotten, it is crazy, it is so very many things. Now, still when I was in P1, I was a desk caller, and we had this house help. She was a woman this time. Yeah, she was really grown. I don't remember her age, but for me, she was a whole grown-up woman. And one day she tells me, come, and then she gives me a chair in her bedroom, and then she starts masturbating in front of me, and she just called me to watch her do that. So, like, I tell her, why do I? And she's like, no, just sit there and watch me. I was in P1, I was like 6 maybe. So still, I didn't know what sex was. I didn't know that she's even masturbating. It felt like an act that maybe old people do. I don't know, but she just told me, sit there and watch me. It wasn't once. She kept doing it again and calling me to watch her. Maybe it was sexually satisfying for her to do that while I'm watching her. I don't know. And sometimes I would tell her, I want to go and play with my friends, and she's like, no, wait. And she would do that for long. Guys, that time it was okay. Like, I didn't know what it was. But fast forward, I think about this, and I'm like, why would she do that to me? Thank goodness that I never practiced it, you know, because kids are innocent. You know, you'll see something and you're like, let me go and do it. But I thank God that I didn't do it, you know. Now I'm thinking, what if I had? You know, what if I had gone ahead and done what she had showed me to do? Because it's like she's showing me an example. How tortured would I be right now? How guilty, how terrible, how dirty would I be feeling right now? There are very many things that are going on, very many forms of sexual abuse, not just physically, but even, you know, someone speaking to you, or, yeah, like what she did. Like, visually, someone can sexually abuse a child. So my question is, what can we do? What measures can we put in place to make sure this does not happen to our children, or to reduce it from happening? You know, because it is going on, how do we reduce it from happening? So please and please share with me in the comment section what you think that we can do. Yeah, to like measures you think as an individual, as a society, as a school place, anything. What can we do to make sure this does not happen again, or at least it reduces? Yeah, and also share with us any story, you know, experience of somebody that you know, anyone. Share these stories, someone out there that has been sexually abused, sometimes we feel better by knowing that, oh, I'm not alone, it happened to so and so, but you know, she's still moving on. So share those stories. Then in our next video, I will make a video on the measures that we can put in place, how we can heal people that have gone through it, and all those things. Thank you for watching. If this video has been helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, again, please kindly subscribe so that you won't miss out on any of the videos that I put up. Thank you for being here, and see you next time.